because it's truthfully what we talk about all the time.
It is.
All right, let me close that. Let me close that so we get good
Ooh,
bandwidth.
I like the hat too. After you went a little buck chasing.
Oh, so let's get into that because
Let's do this.
we'll unpack that in the next episode.
Ladies and gentlemen.
We're not even live yet. Hold on, man. I mean, not live, but what's it called?
It says live.
Oh, yeah, we're live, but I want to record this mug.
Let's record this.
Where'd it go? Oh, there it is.
We're on live.
And
we're on the... There's the recording button.
There's the ground. We're back.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joel... Pilka.
Arsenio. We got Jonesy. Dude, it's been a couple weeks, and you put me through a scare. Literally, I was like, don't you go dying on me. We can't... we just getting started. You guys don't know. I talk to Tony
death scare
constantly by text message. We're always shooting ideas. We're always talking. And all of a sudden, I'm like, it's radio silence. Yeah, radio silence for like, I'm talking 8 hours, which I'll give you 4 hours. I'll give you sometimes a half a day because we get busy. Yeah, then I was like, I know something's up. So I'm like finding your mom. First, I found Marco. I didn't want to scare your mom. Found Marco on Facebook. I had to friend him. I was like, what's up with our boy? He's like, I don't know. I was like, well, that's unlike him. He's like, yeah. And then I went to your mom.
I didn't tell Marco either.
I was like, Donna, what's up? And then she was just like, and then she told me you were home already. But then you didn't. You told me you didn't get home until the next day.
Yeah, it was.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was one of those deals where I didn't have any clue of like what time it was, type of deal. You know, you didn't know like what day it was. You didn't know kind of like what was going on around you outside of this little box that you're in the hospital, you know?
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm not going to ask you about your personal like medical stuff, so I can leave that out. But anyway, you had a run in, and you know, like
yeah, and like I said, it's kind of weird because the last 3 years it's happened every single time in November, like almost like clockwork. So I don't know if it's environmental. I don't know if it is, you know, drug induced. I don't know if it's
weird
like an allergy. I don't know if it's food poisoning. I don't know if it's you know, like, because I have allergies that are really, really bad as far as like I can't take any NSAIDs. I can't take aspirin. I can't take Tylenol. Well, Tylenol I can't because that's acetaminophen. But I can't take like Motrin or Advil or anything like that. I can't take Celebrex or any type of painkillers either, like codeine or any of that stuff. I can't take any of that shit. I'm allergic to it. It will kill me. You want to kill me? Give me Motrin.
When did you find that out? How old? You were like a kid when you found that out?
No, I was like 24, I want to say 25. Wow. Because I was having these type of episodes and I was having them a lot and I didn't know what it was from. So Stu Watkins is a fireman and he went through
I didn't know that.
Paramedic school. He's like the top fireman in fucking Wheeling, dude. He's huge. And he's the man. And so he was hanging out at the house one day and he seen me, you know, go into one of these fits where I couldn't stop puking. Same exact shit that just happened. And he's like, hey, let's go to the emergency room. So he takes me to the emergency room. We get there and he starts talking to the other people there because he knows them all because he drops patients off there
he's always
every day.
Coming through the ED and shit.
Right. And he's got his own codes and shit so we can go in the back and all that jazz. And so he's talking to him and he comes in. He's like, yeah. He goes, they're telling me you're allergic to NSAIDs and shit and something like that. And I'm just like, oh, interesting. So here's how dumb I am. So I get out of there. Everything's great. And
take another
work. Right. So I go to work and I tell Rachel and I'm like, hey, they think I'm allergic to NSAIDs and like, you know, ibuprofen, stuff like that. And she's like, are you sure? That sounds kind of weird. And I'm like, yeah, there's only like less than 1% of the people in the world that have this allergy. So it is super rare. And she's like, well, let's, have you tested that theory out? And I'm like, no. And she's like, well, let's do it. And I was like, okay. So I grabbed,
let's do it. Go ahead.
I grabbed ibuprofen and I did it. My eyes swelled shut and my fucking throat started to close. And I was like, yeah, this isn't good, dude.
You're like, yep. I think
was it. Yeah, exactly. And
let's
I knew
test that theory.
That was it. I haven't touched it since that day. And that was about 13 years ago, I want to say. So whatever that math is the last time I've had any NSAIDs.
How long? You've been with Rachel for that long?
Well, we were working together at that time. And we weren't together.
Yeah.
I've been together with her for like 7 years, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
But we worked together for a long time before we were together too. That's how we got together.
I see.
And yeah, so it was trial and error kind of. So I don't know if it's something like that.
That's kind of a shitty thing to be allergic to. Yeah.
I know. And so like, because it has anti-inflammatory properties. So I can't get any of that anywhere except for like pot or CBD or something,
That's true.
Those are the only things that have anti-inflammatory properties.
I mean, there's got to be some other things. Chicory root or something like.
Yeah, like
you have to just
horns root. Yeah. Horns root of worm or something.
Ragweed.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll pass.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't need any sawgrass root in my tea.
Hey, I don't know. I was watching Rogan the other day. Man, I've been watching a lot of him lately.
Okay.
And he had Laird Hamilton. I was telling you all about the Laird Hamilton
old
stuff.
School good episodes you're watching, which is totally cool.
Yeah, and he Laird has his coffee out, right? And he's had it out for a while
with that turmeric and everything.
Yeah, and I haven't tried it, but I was at Sprouts the other day and I saw it in a powder form, and I thought,
really,
maybe I'll try it. Yeah, I thought it was a powder. It was like a bag.
Sure, but that's
I didn't think it was
cool.
Because it. I think he does it where it's almost like have you ever taken coconut oil and had it coagulate on you because of the melting temperature or the whatever, and then you just hold it in your hand, it kind of melts. So I wonder if it's something like that. I don't know, but anyway, it was like in a bag. And I want to try it because Joe was talking about how like addicting it was. He's like, this is so good, I want it all the time.
He is preaching it to all the other guests now and shit. Even
I'm gonna have to give it a shot just because of. I mean, I was gonna buy it from Laird anyhow, just because. I mean, I feel like that guy, his body is a fine-tuned machine for what he's doing, and he, you know what I mean. It might just only work whatever for him, probably not. But also, he said something on the podcast the other day that he goes, I wanted something that everybody could take. He goes, I don't want to just have something that's like, well, you can't be old and you can't be young and you have to be he's like, I don't want a niche product. If it doesn't work for everybody, then it's like, it's not good. I want anybody to be like, kids can have it, blah, blah. Oh, he meant the stuff going into it anyhow.
Yeah, the ingredients.
Coffee, but yeah. It's like the minerals and all that stuff.
I give Dakota coffee if she wants it. She likes to take a taste of coffee, which is
like
super weird.
13 or 10?
No, Dakota's 9 and Kat's 13.
Kat's 13. All right. I thought she was 10, yeah. But
March.
I got to try it. I can't wait. So
hang on. I'm going to write that down because I want to try to find it too.
And he kept saying it was like turmeric, right? It's not turmeric.
Something like that, yeah.
There is an R in it. I went to the store and purposely looked at it. I was like, it is turmeric. I always thought it was turmeric. And maybe some people say it. Maybe, and I've always thought, I was like, really? I've never seen that R before. So I wonder if some people just don't spell it that way. But I don't know.
I'm just writing down Laird Hamilton coffee because I want to go check it out too.
Yeah, it's like Laird Superfood or something like that is what it's called. But he said it's got a lot of minerals, and turmeric's one of them. Turmeric's one of them.
Yeah.
Dude, so you got out of the hospital, thank goodness, and you're like, geez,
I
feeling better?
I get back into the mix and I sweat all the crap out, and it was pretty crazy how much crap I was sweating out of my body at night.
I saw you hit your did you do a workout today or was it last night? Was it last night?
I was just walking the dog.
Oh, all right. I was like, shit, he's back at it.
Well, I was just trying to get out and move a little bit because, like I said, I felt like I was crawling out of my skin because they gave me some like they gave me chemotherapy meds first, which is like, the stuff that you take when you're on chemo to prevent you from puking. I can't remember what it's called, like dextrogen or something like that.
Yeah.
And they gave me that, and that didn't work. And I told them the minute that they gave it to me, I'm like, this shit doesn't work. Go in my file. I was here last fucking November. Give me what you gave me, the third drug last year.
Wow.
That worked, And they didn't listen to me. They gave it to me again. The same fucking shit didn't work. So I'm in there for hours and hours and hours, like I was saying. And then finally the lady comes in and she's like, we're going to give you this experimental psycho something or something. I'm like, what? Because I'm like out of it, and she's like, yeah, it's for like cannabis induced vomiting or something. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And so she's and I give her my arm because
she's like,
you have the IV. Yeah, right. Hit this really quick though.
She takes a pull first.
God damn, I'm gonna need a minute.
She's like, I'm gonna blame it on you, but I gotta try this thing. They said it was medical grade, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit myself first with it, then I'm gonna give you the rest. but I give her my arm, like, here, put it in the fucking IV thing, because there's like an attachment where you could just pump drugs into your arm, because I already had an IV in
already
me.
got you.
Yeah, and I had the fucking things all over my chest, Joel. I was on the fucking alarms and everything.
I hate that.
I alarmed twice actually, because my heart rate dropped below 40, and I alarmed twice, and it woke me up. And then when I woke up, my heart rate picked back up, and I was fine. And the alarm went off, and they let me go, and or they just left the room, I should say.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I give her my arm. She's like, no. This is like I said, this isn't
up
something
the butt this time.
Right. Bend over. She's like, no, this is a shot. And she pulls out like the fucking like, the Dr. Zhivago fucking gigantic needle, and I'm just like, okay. And she's like, I'm gonna put it in your arm. You ready? I'm like, lady, I ain't scared of needles. Just go for this. I just need this shit fucking out of me.
Are you ready to feel better? Like, come on, hit it. Yeah,
hit it. Come on. So she hammers me with this fucking thing, and like I could feel it. You know how like when you get hit with certain chemicals in your body, you can feel it like go in through your artery to your heart, and then your heart will go bump bunk. Boom, and you can feel it explode through your entire
I've never
body.
felt the boom boom, but I've had like dyes shot through for like CT scans where they're like, it's gonna feel like you peed your pants, and all of a sudden you get all warm, and you're like, oh,
it's like that. Yeah. It's like that, but you can feel like your heart suck it in and then pop it out throughout your entire body, like down to your feet, down to your hands. Remember, I was telling you,
you grab her by the neck.
Well, pretty much, it was immediate. But then I started doing like jazz hands, and I couldn't stop. You know what I mean? I was just like, I'm on fire,
dude. That's crazy.
And my feet too. Like I couldn't sit still. Like I had this. Like I was like kind of like I felt like I had Parkinson's, or like was that
that's what you were saying? Yeah.
I felt like I had Parkinson's because I was constantly like fucking moving. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't sit still, and it went on for the entire following 24 hours.
I'm sorry, dude.
And then that following night is when, like I was saying, I went to bed. I felt fine, but I was still like, felt like I had Parkinson's, and
just buzzing.
That night I sweat it all out. Like, I mean, I was sweating like fucking profusely, dude. And I woke up and it was like I had pissed my bed. It was that much freaking sweat, dude. And I was like blown away by how much I had sweated out all this crap.
Ugh.
But then after that, good to go. I was back. And then you obviously, you texted me right in the morning, and you're like, hey, what's up? How you feeling?
Yeah.
Shit like that. And I was like, I still got the shakes a little bit, but it's way, way better.
That was crazy.
And
but no, because this was just 2 days ago, really. I mean, like essentially it was just a couple days ago.
I feel like fucking champ, man. I didn't lose too much. They ran my blood work. They said my blood work was fucking phenomenal. They said that, my weight and my, all the other, the stuff that they check and all that shit was good to go. I didn't have diabetes, no cancer. All my scans came back. They scanned every fucking part of my body. And most of the time when they scan my body, they come back and they're like, hey, did you know your shoulder's completely fucking blown out? And I'm like, yeah, you told me this last
time. Yeah.
And stuff like that. And I'm just like, yeah, you already told me all this. Don't worry. My shoulder is fucking fine. I could kick your ass with this fucking arm,
I know. I have like a spot, like this little spot on my liver that we don't know why it's there. And they talk about it all the time. And they're like, well, that thing is there, but it hasn't changed. I'm like, yep, every time. But at least they bring it up, you know what I mean? But
they're checking it so it doesn't change.
I think when I got my appendix out, our theory is when I got my appendix out, maybe because they did it arthroscopic, that maybe they poked it or touched it, and then they gave me a PICC line to take home. So I had the whole, I had to do an IV, I had a thing, and I had to put stuff in me twice a day for a month, and then shrunk it down, and then it hasn't changed since. So we don't know really what it was.
I hope it's nothing, because
they always bring up that stuff. Yeah, that was a decade ago, but they always bring that up. You still got that? I'm like, yep.
Man, because liver, oof, man.
But that thing can regenerate. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Even, it can, if you get too far.
All your organs.
Well, your lungs, I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, your lungs. Really? They start to recover. Like, let's say you're a smoker, like a pack-a-day smoker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like my mom was.
Yeah.
They said that after 21 days of not smoking, your lungs start to regenerate and reheal themselves and clear out all the crap.
Yeah.
And I actually was a smoker for a long time, and this. And when I stopped smoking cigarettes permanently, I noticed it fucking immediately. Well, not immediately. I'd say about a month in, like I was just saying.
Yeah.
And it was night and day when I would run or when I would move or work out or do something like that. you just had more gas in the tank, you know, and you could breathe easier and you could breathe deeper and you weren't hacking up a lung, you know, and you weren't, you know, I didn't realize how bad it was until I was on the other side of it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Never do.
You never do. Speaking of breathing,
like booze.
Oh man, you never know how good you can be or how good you're going to feel until you get rid of it, really.
Well, let's expound on that, because I want to tell everybody that you did something fucking absolutely spectacular. We have not talked about it since the last time we were on, because it didn't happen last time we were on. This dude right here,
can't wait to hear.
About a week ago, he ran a 5K on Friday, a 10K on Saturday, and a half marathon on Sunday. And you're probably thinking that's all fine and dandy, but that's not all he did. On Friday, he did over 40 different exercise moves. One of them was actually twice that, so it'd be like 50 or 60, because, you know, it was the lunges both sides.
Yeah, that sucked.
So that was 20. But then on Saturday he did 50 or 60, and then on Sunday he did 60 or 70, however you want to look at it. But on top of all of that, and here's the craziest part, okay? So his kid's birthday was in the middle of all this.
Oh yeah, that's right.
On top of that, he ran out of time on Sunday. So this motherfucker is out there in his neighborhood at like 11 at night. And I'm thinking, there's no way this dude's making this. And then all of a sudden I get all the bling, 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 bling on my fucking watch that you hit your goals, you finish his work.
I was hoping you weren't going to see any of that shit till I was done, man.
And I'm just like, damn, dude, he did it. You know, like he finished it.
That was great.
And it blew my mind that you set yourself up for like excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse coming in. You're like, I got my kid's birthday.
I started dropping them on you, man. I was like,
you're like, I got to do this. I have to do this. And then you just did the 5K and you're like, but man, I think that's all I got in me. I don't know if I could do the 10K. I got to do some stuff. I got to do all this. And all of a sudden you're like, no, I did the 10K, but man, I think I'm gassed. I'm going to be burned on Monday if I do this half marathon. I don't think I'm going to make this half marathon.
And you never said anything. You just kind of let it sit there. I
just was like,
all right.
Yeah. It's all good, man. Do what
your text on Saturday was the best. You're like, dude, you're the only one of my friends that's done 2 of them, and that's fucking amazing. So great job. And I was like, well, now I gotta do 3, man. I'm like, I can't leave my boy hanging. Like, he did it. I gotta do this. You know, thanks for the props. I have to say myself two things to that. So first of all, the second day, the 10K, that was the furthest I've ever run in my entire life.
Me too.
So then I had to double that. We had to double that
nonstop.
Yeah, full run nonstop. So then we had to double that. So then the next day we had to do a half marathon, which the motivation
13.1 miles. If you don't know
13.1 miles, and it started raining with 5 miles left to go, and I was like,
you did tell me that.
I don't know if I can.
Epic.
I don't know if I can do this. It's raining. I have every excuse. I'm like, it started to get really windy, and it doesn't rain very much in Phoenix. So when it does, like a clipper's coming through.
Yeah, it's fucking.
And it was dark, and I was like, it's 11 o'clock. It's not even safe. I'm like trying to talk myself out of it. And then, so I got that done. But the second part is that I did it and you did it by ourselves. There wasn't a group of 100 or 200 people like where they kept you motivated.
Nope.
We just did it by ourselves. And like that, as much as people want to say that a virtual race is kind of BS because, it's a virtual, whatever. I think it's harder because you're alone.
What's your take? Yeah, what's your take on that now?
I did this.
I thought it was kind of corny when we were looking into it.
When I told people I'm doing a virtual, like the guy on the back he's a triathlete guy, like sponsored and stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
But he's got a full-time job, but he's just like virtual, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I know it's a little corny, but you know, I think it's a challenge between me and my buddy to hold each other accountable. And I think it's going to be great.
Some shit, yeah.
And so just the fact that you're by yourself makes it harder because you can't look at somebody and be like, oh, I got to catch up, or I can't quit because he's not quitting. You
just kind of get sucked into the pace. Yeah.
The YouTube, that's where I listen to the Laird Hamilton. So I would advise if anybody's going to run or something like that, there's podcasts and all that stuff, but listen to one where somebody you really admire.
Like big time,
like Laird Hamilton, just you guys, if you know him, badass, big wave surfer for 40 years, like the man started surfing big waves.
Or my man, Cameron Haynes.
So like start listening, that's such a cool shirt. Listen to one of these guys, like 2-hour podcast or something, because when you hear the people that are doing it, you won't quit because you're like, listen to Goggins because you're like, look, these guys are. And so my note here on top of that, and thank you for the props, T, and to yourself as well, because you led the way. Like you were getting out in the morning and just crushing it out. So I was like, well, I got to do it. And my question was, like, really, how can you, and I put 100x, how can you 100x your dream? Because after we watched Chasing Bubbles, which we're going to put the link down here. If you haven't seen Chasing Bubbles,
watch it.
You need to watch it because
it's fucking amazing.
The guy, you know, essentially, I'll only tell you that he's a Chicago Board of Trade trader living in his van outside in the street.
Down by the river.
Yeah, he lives in his... Jenny,
she just said the same shit.
She just said the same thing Tony said at the same time. I'm telling you two really like are always on the same page. Every time you say something, Jenny will say it. I'm like, damn it, that's what Tony said. But he lived in his van outside the Board of Trade, parked on the street, and then just went to work. And he didn't want to spend the money, and he was making a shit ton. He calls himself and then he gets a boat. And a sailboat.
No clue. Let's put
no clue how to sail ever.
He literally, it
took like a week
reading the book, Sailing for Dummies book.
Yeah, and the guy's obviously smart, but still, he's not a sailor. And then he takes off around the world on a sailboat, and I'll leave it there because
watch the rest.
And then I thought the same thing you did because after you watched it, and thanks for watching it, you go, oh my God, I'm not doing anything with my life. What am I doing? I'm a lazy piece of shit. And I'm like, dude, I feel the same way. Like, how do we 100x our goals?
After we just ran a 5K, a 10K, and a half marathon, I texted you that I'm a lazy piece of shit.
Yeah.
Everyone listening right now is probably like, fuck these two guys. Turn this off.
Yeah, they're fucking bullshit. No. Go do it, and then we'll just watch the show, and you'll be like, I can do more. I can do bigger. And so my buddy Reed Whiting, who already inspires the shit out of me because the guy, D1 hockey player, owns a couple. I didn't know that. Yeah, he played at Ohio State, has a couple different business, has a turtle farm. Okay.
That's what you're saying. That's so dope.
And so there's a podcast out there called The Meat Eater or something like that.
Yeah, is that John Dudley?
It might. I don't know if it's Dudley's or not, but it's a Meat Eater or something like that. It's called. They're doing pre-production shows because they want him on, and him and the guy he has the turtle farm with, and he also then after he played hockey and did that, he went to do X Games crushed ice.
Oh my God.
Crashed ice or whatever, where they go downhill racing on ice skates.
Yeah, crazy.
He did that for a few years. Then he
like Bronco, roller derby style.
Exactly, and now he's like their announcer. So he goes for X Games and he goes to the races and he like goes down the track and he's like, yeah, what you're gonna see, like the guy's just. I met him. His child goes to school with mine, and I met him one time at the gymnastics, and I asked him about something rollerblade, and I was like, oh yeah, I used to rollerblade. And he's like, oh, I did a little bit of that. And so we're like, I'm thinking I'm hot shit, and he starts telling me his stories. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, so I used to rollerblade too. Blah, blah,
yeah, blah. In Wheeling. But he's such a humbled, awesome guy. And so like anyway, the point is he's in that, and I asked him if he'd come on the show. He's like, hell yeah, man. I'll come on the show.
For sure. Let's get this dude on.
Yeah. And I showed you the picture of the elk hunt that he sent. Yeah.
Oh, I showed Rachel that too. And she's like, holy shit.
I know.
And it's mind blowing. That is what I was talking about when you're like, let's get people on. Let's get people on. Let's get people on. And I was like, dude, I don't fucking know this guy. I don't know how to talk to this guy. I don't know what to do with this guy. I don't know how to possibly get anybody on the show. And you're like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I feel you, but I just don't. I want to vet some people.
It's sometimes surprise, and you were right to pull us back because I was going to bring on some people that were just like, buddies from home, which would be fun, but maybe that's a different show. But also,
or maybe in the future.
Yeah. It surprised me though how hesitant you were to have guests on because I was like, man of action, you're a man of action. What are you scared about? Like, come on, this is nothing. But maybe
I'll tell you why.
I interview people for a living though, so it's different.
That is
truthfully,
huge.
I interview people every day for a living. Like, so whatever.
So I had, like you said, the buddy thing. I did that on the podcast. You've been on my podcast, my solo podcast.
I just listened to it the other day, actually.
You've heard a bunch of the other people that I've had on my podcast. And they're all friends, and they're all people that I know, and I've quote unquote vetted them. And one of the guys, George, that I had on my podcast, who runs the Two Sushi Rolls podcast. When I started doing podcasting, he's the guy that actually showed me what was up. When I went and did his podcast, he showed me how all of his shit was set up, what he did, how he did it, everything. So I was like, dude, this is so cool. I can do this. He's the guy that gave me the, like the blueprint of, how, easy the barriers to entry are to podcasting pretty much. And then I see you doing it all the time on Facebook, but it wasn't necessarily a podcast at that time. It was just, you were doing Facebook clips and I loved it, but it's the same style, same thing.
It's kind of the same thing.
Then you did a podcast along with it. You transferred everything over into a podcast. And, And this dude showed me what was up. This dude told me what was going on and everything like that. But he gave me some advice too. He's like, number one rule, when you have guests on your show, you fully fucking vet them before you let them get in front of a microphone on your show. Because I've had at least 5 episodes that I have not been able to release.
Yeah.
Because that's how he found me. He just calls random people that he likes on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then he'll contact them, kind of like what you were telling me to do with the one guy that I was freaking out about. That's what he would do. Yeah. That's what he would do. He would just reach out to these guys and he would just be like, hey man, you want to come on the podcast? And they'd say yes, but then they would go like fucking off script, like way off script, like being like racist and
weird,
like homophobic.
And, you never think about that sometimes.
Really bad shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, one of the big tips that my buddy gave me was fully vet your dudes before you let anybody on with a mic on your podcast. Otherwise you're just going to waste your time and you're going to have to eat some episodes sometimes. And I was like, totally understand. So that's why I was like, whoa. Before, I didn't want you reaching out to anybody either. And without us talking about it or vetting him, but this is exactly what I was talking about like, if you meet somebody, you talk to them, you hang out with them a couple times. You like you said, your kid goes to school with them, or you go on a hike with them and you're working out with them and you're training with them at the gym or something. You vet him that way, Then you get him on. Fucking Reed on this podcast would be amazing. And I know 1000%.
Well, and the thing with him too is, and I guess like with anybody, and to your point, is like really, I don't mind shooting off the cuff. Mm-hmm. But also he does 1,000 things that it's like, why do we want to talk to him? Because he's crushing life. So it can go anywhere. And that's kind of my thought, is like, they're crushing life, but like, yeah, like to have some direction. Cause I don't mind honestly shooting from the hip, but there will be things maybe you miss, which is okay. You can have him on again. That's right. So this is his company. This is Big Buck Down.
Are you serious?
Yeah, this is Big Buck Down. This is their place in Iowa.
You've worn that hat before though.
Yep. BBD Iowa. Big Buck Down. And he's interesting, dude. It's really cool. We'll get him to talk about whatever he wants, but like the turtle farm and the hunting and all of that stuff. But his time at D1 hockey, it should be fun. Now that we've already planted the seed.
We could talk about bubbles. That'd be fucking amazing.
Oh, let's talk about bubbles for sure. So you guys, chasing bubbles. I'll put the YouTube link in there. It's, I don't know how long it is. I think it's 90 minutes. Yeah, he was in it, by the way. So I don't think we said that. Yeah. He shows up in like Papua New Guinea.
Right. And he meets him out there and jumps on the boat and is with him for like a month or something or more.
I don't know how long I actually don't know, because he sent me that link when I first met him, like a couple years ago, like let's say a year ago, easily. Sure. I've known him for a couple of years.
Oh, that's
and
dope.
I never watched it. Like, I don't know why, but I never watched it. And on the ride back from hunting the other day, or stalking, whatever, I said, dude, what was that thing you sent me? And he's like, you never watched that, dude? And I'm like, no. He's like, unbelievable. I'm like, I'll watch it tonight. And so he dropped me off at like 9 p.m. that night, and I watched it that night because I said I would. And I was texting him, and I text him how you text me. Like, I text him halfway through, and then the morning I had to text him again. So I'll leave it at that. You know what I mean? Because you text me like halfway through, then you text me later, and I was like, couldn't say anything. But such a cool show. So.
And it starts off a little slow, and you're going to see some like hick-looking dude floating around in like Indiana drinking a Corona.
But even from then, he grabs he's captivating, because he's on like a rowboat or whatever he is, drinking like a Coors or a Corona with weird sunglasses on. You're like, what?
Yeah,
and he something about him.
Like he's just some regular dude at that point. But then you find out who he is and what he's done and the adventure. And like you said, I don't want to ruin it, because you need to watch it and not have any, bias or, prejudice.
You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
Anybody watching this, go find Chasing Bubbles, right?
Yeah.
And we'll leave a link in here.
Yeah, the links, I have it where it's definitely going in. I've been good the last few shows about closing down and putting the links right in. I don't know if you've seen it, but I've been updating the stuff right after the show.
I have not. I got to check it out.
And so on that note, and that's why I brought it up, was we both felt like, even though we did that whole Spartan thing, that our goals, or I felt that my goals aren't even close to being high enough. So I put, instead of 10xing the goal, can you 100x whatever goal that is? Or secondly, if you can't think of because you have these things you want to reach, and whether it's Everest or whatever it is, can you shorten the timeline maybe? So instead of saying, by the end of the year, I want to write a book, how about in 3 months, I want to write a book?
Yes.
How about just shorten the time?
Yes.
Because that you'll start cutting to the chase. You'll be like, okay, instead of, and this was I was going to say to you, each week We should talk about what a goal is, and we should come back with what that is. So instead of being like, okay, I want to buy a farm in Nebraska, I'm not going to come back and say, hey, I researched farms. Like, that's not enough in like a whole week. It'd be like, hey, I talked to, or I went and visited, or you know what I mean? Like, make the steps more meatier. Don't just be like, okay, so number one step is how to write a book. Okay, so I Googled how many pages it's going to. No,
I watched some YouTube videos on it.
Yeah, like, that's fine. Then say you watch 25 YouTube, or say you watch 6 hours of YouTube videos. Don't just say
what I was.
You were saying that one day.
How many videos have you?
How many links have you read? I was like, calm down, Joe. Calm down.
How many fucking videos have you watched?
I know.
How many times have you walked the walk, motherfucker?
I was like, get off my back.
Stop, I'll do better.
And I hate defending myself, because Jenny will tell me, like, you don't have to defend yourself all the time, but it's like, nobody cares. Work harder. It's like, my podcast a couple weeks ago was, I hate being misunderstood. Like, I need to back myself up because I want people to know where I'm coming from. It's like, if you thought I made a mistake because I'm stupid or lazy, that's not the point. The point was, here was my thought process. This is why I chose that. Now I'm open to feedback, but unless you know how I thought about it, because you'll be like,
don't attack me.
Yeah, you have to do this, you have to do this. I'm like, dude, I read those books last year. But then I'll think, maybe I need to read it again, or what did I miss or something. So,
well, that was a good way for you to take it, because I was being aggressive as fuck when I did that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do that on purpose, though. So it wasn't necessarily something that I was, unaware of. I definitely try to have some thought behind.
See, that sucks, because you know me better than I know you, because you can push my buttons and move me in a way. Like, those text messages, probably you knew was going to get under my skin, or however it was, and you knew that I was doing it also for you, because we were in it together. We were in it together.
Look,
and I hate that, because and I don't think I can do that to you, or maybe I don't know that I can.
You do it, and I told you this the other day. You just don't know that you do it. So, like I was saying, for example, when I'm hanging out at the house and it's 9:30 or something like it is now, and all of a sudden, like I said, on the watch, I get the Joel finish this, and we're competing. We do our 7-day compete thing. We'll talk about that a little bit too. But I'll see, I'm like, fuck, Joel's already got 400 fucking points, and I'm only at like 289 here.
Oh yeah.
So I got to get my ass moving at least to get up towards that 400. I think he'll, he's still gonna beat me on the day, but I can't let him, get that much of a gap on me. Otherwise, I won't have a shot.
You can't catch. Yeah, you can't catch.
Because with that 600 limit and everything. So yeah, it's there. It's just that you don't know you do it sometimes even.
Yeah, I like that. And that's kind of cool, because then you're just living it, right?
Yes.
So if we were going to talk about goals, how do we, like,
I wrote that down.
After the bubbles thing, like, what came to your mind? What came to your mind that would be
100x?
Something along those lines that is like an Everest, or like sailing around the world. I mean, have something in your back pocket? Well, you've talked about sailing around the world or something to that effect, but maybe it's the ghost town, or maybe it's, I don't know.
I'm into that right now.
We always put that stuff 20 years down the road, because a lot of times it takes money and whatnot, but
it definitely takes money. And just as a disclaimer too, that chasing bubble story, the kid did come from a pretty wealthy family.
Well, so that's true. He made his own money, but he did come from some cash.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
So
not that diminishes the point. Or
he didn't do it on a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
But I think he spent like $100K to do that.
Well, he said he bought the boat for 70, and then he spent about $100K throughout the entire trip fixing supplies,
stuff,
everything.
So
I got that kind of cash though. That's not out of my reach. You know what I'm saying?
You could do that,
right?
I hated that was what I found out at the end, but it doesn't discount the challenge that it was. You know what I mean?
No, that's had to go do it. Doesn't diminish the message or the accomplishment.
And he didn't buy like this fully loaded boat. It was a piece of shit.
With a whole
it didn't have air conditioning. It didn't have
full roaches. Yeah, nothing was working that great. Yeah, it was old. It was rickety.
Think about like what you would have bought as a college student, essentially, and like gone out.
Well, he did buy that first boat, remember? And it was like
$3,000.
He just jumped from island to island down in the Bahamas. Then he sold that one and got the other one.
Yeah.
But okay, so back to your point. We're getting off the topic, or we keep talking about bubbles when we should be talking about our own bubbles. But the 100x thing, I love it. I want to do it. I want to make sure that we can put some stuff in it. And we don't have to go from 0 to 100. I don't think that that's necessarily the best route for us because there's a bunch of different variables in here. He doesn't have a family. He didn't have kids. He didn't have a wife. He didn't have a job. He did have a job.
He did have a girlfriend.
Yeah. And they got caught sleeping in the floor in the bunk beds. That was so fucking funny. Yeah. But like I said, I'm going to just frame this the right way. Everybody in the world has different responsibilities and different things that they hold in like a different hierarchy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
Obviously we hold our kids number one, and our wives probably number one or number two right there, both maybe, tied. Then you have like your house and your stuff. And then you have like your job or something. Then you have, you get like maybe your mom and dad or, something like that. Your sisters and brothers, the rest of your family or something, your friends, you can put all these things in like an order of what's most important to you. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And everybody's order is going to be slightly different. Most people will put their kids first or their wife first or something like that. Yeah. Okay. And most people will have the rest of their family in the top 5 or something, or, there's going to be some similarities, but once you get away from those things, you'll start to see that other people have different priorities for different things. Mm-hmm. So obviously when you have a kid, you can't disappear for a fucking year and just do whatever you want. You know what I mean? When you have responsibilities and bills, you can't just drop everything and fucking walk away. You have a wife, you can't just fucking disappear and leave her hanging and just say, take care of everything. I'll be back in a fucking year because I'm going to go do some
going sailing.
Shit. Yeah. It doesn't work like that. You're going to return to no house, no wife, no kid, and fucking no money, and no job. Yeah. And you're going to have bigger problems than you did when you left. But you might figure some shit out. Who knows? You may never come back either. But you get my point.
Yeah.
So I think that we need to frame it in that context first. So
Agreed.
Yes, I think we need to 100x our goals.
Go ahead. I was going to say, and now it's great to synthesize it, talking it out, because I think that exercise allows you to just think bigger. It's like, that's what I took from it. Like, maybe what I'm shooting for, even what I'm thinking about isn't even big enough, right? It doesn't feel big enough, because ultimately if I do a bunch of these things in 10 years, it's not
doing the same exercise.
Yeah. Like it's not getting me whatever. So that's all it's like. And so here's the exercise I kind of learned the other day with a friend that lives down my new friend, our new neighbor.
Down by the river.
Yeah, we went for a walk again today. The guy's super, super cool, man. Owns an ad agency.
Okay.
Smart guys from South Africa. You were
talking about the Xbox thing?
Yep. He brought Xbox to market. He's a little bit older than me, but from South Africa, super smart, just intellectual. We had coffee this morning, and so he said, here's a cool drill that he does. It was so fun.
I'm going to write stuff down. So if you see me looking away, I'm just writing shit down.
No worries.
I'm not being rude.
You're fine. So it's all part of it. So he goes, let's say here's the example he used. Like, let's say you want to start a fire. You're trying to, how to start a fire. So he goes, think about all the ways you can start a fire. He goes, now, like the best way you can start a fire. Think a bunch of ways. But some people
gasoline and fucking Zippo, baby.
Yeah. Torch chopper, baby.
Let's go.
It's like, okay, so you do that. But
next question, Joel.
Some people won't say things because they think they're dumb ideas. Some people will be hesitant. So then the next exercise is, let's think of all the worst ways to start a fire.
Nice.
Like underwater or with wet match. So now people aren't afraid because any idea sounds dumb, right? Because we're looking for we're looking for bad ideas.
Dude, this is a great exercise.
I know. So it frees people up. And then there's like this, that third part of it kind of is like marrying things like that, right? And so then there's one more part of the exercise, and this is kind of where it comes from. So he called it like galactical thinking, and I'm not getting the third part out. And I don't want to give any of his stuff away, but so he was working with, let's say, this luggage company.
Yep.
And, everybody had the new luggage that like the wheels roll all over the place and they're like indestructible, hard case. And he's like, well, what can we do? We're losing market share. How do we get back in the game? So they started thinking, like, he goes like, okay, let's take a farm, for example. let's think about luggage and a farm. So what do we think about? We got cows maybe. So you could make it leather. You could make some high end like leather stuff, but that would be very niche. It's like, all right, so then you have like tractor. So like maybe you could make like big tractor wheels, and it could be really for like world travelers. It could be rugged, and it could be have like whatever. And that's kind of niche too, but it's kind of, and then he's like, what else do you have? He's like, well, you have silos. And what do the silos do? So those they stores grain and stores this. So he goes, well, what if luggage, because it takes up space, that you used it also as like storage in your closet. So it sat in your closet, but also stored your stuff in a certain way so that you could use it also while you weren't using it. So it wasn't just like, and then they used that
one trip thing. Yeah.
Like on that play where it was like, you still used it in your closet to like store stuff or whatever it was, like I don't know how it played out, but that's the route they ended up going, and it revived the whole brand. So it's like genius. So like it just got me thinking a different way. And that's like this 100X. It's like, how can you just think of what you really want differently? Because I think if you climb Everest or if you do a Spartan race, at the end of it, you're going to come home and you're going to feel probably a bit of a depression. Like, because like these people that hike the Appalachian Trail, they tell you that they're really excited to get done, but when they're like a couple days away from being done, because this took 4 to 6 months to do, they start getting sad because they're like, they don't want it to be over.
That's what happened in Chasing Bubbles, remember?
Yeah, I didn't want to go there, but no, it's okay. I just wanted to relate it to the point, like, so after they're done hiking the AT, and they'll even say, and I told you this before, they'll even say that like, make sure you have a project to do kind of after, which is either planning for the next one or editing your video from the trip so that you're still getting to relive the trip a little bit, because you will feel like, oh my gosh, I just lived this amazing 6-month trip and now I'm home, and now what? Like, what do I do now? And so that's like,
sometimes that's even scarier.
It could be very scary. And maybe you come home and your wife and kids are gone and you're like, well, what did I just do? So the 100X goal is that it's like, just think differently about it. Like, you want to, buy a Tesla. Like, that's a great goal. Yes. But I mean, what's a 10X to that goal? Maybe you start with 10Xing it or whatever that is. So I don't know where it goes.
You open your own Tesla dealership or something. You know what I mean? Like,
I like that.
Crazy.
Yeah. Or maybe you start working for them, and because you want to work for SpaceX, and figure that's your way in or something. I don't know. Is that a NASA shirt?
Yeah, and this is my NASA hoodie.
So he's got NASA and SpaceX. I love it, dude.
Well, here's the reason why. Let me jump topics.
Yeah, perfect timing.
Yeah. Good segue. So tonight, well, let me back up. So last night,
one night only,
ladies and gentlemen, gather around.
You got to do our intro. We need an intro for this show, and you just have to do it in that voice. It's
Patrocinando Budweiser. La reina de las cervezas. Mucho caliente fútbol acción esta
Domingo. What did you say? Do you have any idea?
Patrocinando Budweiser. Brought to you by Budweiser.
Oh, nice.
La reina de las cervezas, the king of beers. Mucho caliente fútbol acción esta noche. So
hot football action tonight.
Tonight, yeah. That's like the
love it.
Every patrocinando on Ovaltine. They have so much Ovaltine down there. But anyway, so I don't know why I busted out into that shit. But, what was I saying? Oh, SpaceX. So last night they launched the Dragon Crew for the second time, and the Dragon Crew is the capsule that sits on top of their Raptor rocket, right?
The Dragon Crew,
or their Falcon rocket. I'm sorry. And the Dragon Crew is a manned space pod, pretty much, that is replacing the space shuttle. So
Jenny's pouring me pots of coffee over here. She asked me how old it was. This coffee's only like 4 hours old. She'll drink it the next morning, which I think is really bad for your tummy.
Dude, that's how my mom is, and my fucking wife is.
They do?
Same deal. Yeah. Both of them do it. They save that shit. Like, they'll fucking, like, it's like gold.
Yeah.
Like, relax. We can make another fucking
That's what
pot.
I'm like. I'll throw this out and make a new pot. Yeah. They're like, girls, what's up with them?
I'll dump the 3/4 of the pot out to make a brand new one if that shit's more than 10 minutes old.
Seriously.
So last night they launched the Dragon Crew for the second time with 4 astronauts on there. And it's SpaceX.
Okay.
And they're going to rendezvous with the space station tonight. So in about 10 minutes, they're going to rendezvous with the space station live on YouTube, and you can watch it live on YouTube.
Dude,
and,
how long does it take to get there?
Well, if they would have launched on Saturday, I'm just checking real quick because I have it live right now, dude.
Yeah, and don't be switching off this channel to go watch the. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
dude, what?
Got it live.
How long does it take to get to the space station? This is crazy.
So if they would have left Saturday, it would have only been like 6 hours to get to the space station. But they got bad weather, so they had to leave on Sunday, which was yesterday, and they ended up taking almost a full 24 hours, or maybe it was a little bit more than 24 hours to get to the space station because they had to go all the way around the Earth to catch it again. And
wow.
Yeah, so they've been up there for almost 24 hours inside the Dragon pod, which is super posh. It's super nice. You should see it when they show interior views and everything. And they'll replay this and you can watch it whenever. But they're docking right now. I'm watching it right now.
Docking before.
Yeah.
Like, oh, airlock.
Where we go. Okay. Air Force nominal.
I was watching Rogan again the other day, and he's talking about how he used to not believe that we landed on the moon. Like he was all about they faked it, but now he's switching his. But now he's switching his theory about how he thinks maybe we did, because just because they found some fake pictures doesn't mean they faked the landing or whatever. Because they still do fake stuff. But
yeah, I think they actually did it. I think they actually did it. I think that they actually landed on the moon. I think because honestly, I'm not even joking you about this either. My telescope that's sitting right over there, and that's as tall as I am, and it's about this fucking wide on the aperture. You can zoom in on the fucking moon, and you can literally see like the landing sites. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, I believe you.
You can see like the tracks and shit on the fucking moon. That's how
I mean, I
telescope
think.
is.
But they always say that we never went back. Like, well, how come we never went back? And I was like,
they didn't go back because it wasn't viable.
Back? Nobody? I guess there was return on the investment, actually.
That's what it is. It's all about money.
Point?
And it was always all about money. Let's just be honest here. The NASA program was going to get canceled. There's a show on Disney Plus right now called All the Right Stuff. And it's about the Mercury 7 and the first man in space, Alan Shepard, for the United States anyway, because Yuri Gagarin from Russia was Yuri Gagarin was the first Russian or first person, quote unquote, in space.
Cosmonaut.
Low Earth orbit, but whatever. And
Yuri.
He was the man, Yuri Gagarin, and he was the first man in space. Yuri.
I like this guy.
And then Alan Shepard was the first American, but they have the whole story on Disney Plus and All the Right Stuff.
The Right Stuff.
Yeah.
First time was last time.
So into it right now. I mean, so much so. Hang on.
You know what I've been researching all night? DMT.
Oh, check this out.
You didn't hear that?
I bought this shit.
Look at this guy. What, he got a model?
It's the Lego Saturn V.
You just bought it for
Apollo
the
mission.
Oh, nice.
And
is that Apollo what? Apollo 5?
It's the Saturn V rocket, and this is the one they took to the moon. So this is the moon landing. See, and it actually has the lander and everything inside.
Nice. You get to build all that stuff?
Yeah, it's all Lego.
Wow, cool.
And me and Dakota are gonna do it next weekend.
Nice.
So I'm all about it. You know how I am with fucking space and stuff.
Oh, yeah, man. So I know.
I should even share my screen right now.
Yeah, do it. Let's see it.
I'm just gonna do it.
We're gonna show a live YouTube live on YouTube.
Share.
We get a tattoo of a butt on my butt.
Can you see this space screen right
docking bay for
what do you see?
We got a problem here. TK421. Why aren't you at your post?
TK421.
Everything's fine here. How are you?
How are you? Over?
He asks him, how are you? He's like,
how are you?
We're sending somebody down there. Yeah, look at this. This is
are you watching it right now?
Yeah, 146,000 people are watching this right now.
Yeah, this is live.
That's not even enough people, but
it's not. This is no joke shit right here. This is as live as it gets.
This is really cool.
Live.
It never looks like there's enough room in that space station. I'm like, this is not nearly big enough. I mean,
yeah, they're gonna ditch it. They're building a new moon base, and they're gonna build another. It's like a jumping off point. That's not what it's called.
See, that's what I'm saying. Why don't we have a moon like like a whatever. Yeah, like a connecting flight.
They're going to do it. They're going to build a lunar base right on the moon. They're going to have like an orbiting supply station that you drop supplies off, and then they jump them from the supply station down to the surface.
Alderaan. Like we can take you as far as Alderaan. Dude,
as far as Alderaan.
You're going to the moon. You're definitely going to the moon. That should be one of your freaking goals, man.
If I could, you want to hear something pretty cool? This is really cool too.
20 years from now, you'll be on the moon.
If you go on SpaceX's website right now, you can see how much it would be to go to the moon. So or to go into space, actually, not to the moon.
Space meaning like not actually space, or like low orbit, but blah, blah,
they have options. There's different options. It's a menu. It's literally like
it's like $1 per foot.
It's like it's like buying a fucking Tesla, and you have
no way.
Yeah, you have to convert your body weight into. Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Ride share right there.
Let's see.
Here you go.
Ride share,
smallest ride sharing program. So look, missions as low as $1 million. Search your flights below.
Wow.
And you literally can pick the day you want to go or the month.
Whoa.
Here's your
desired orbit. What are the orbits? What have we got? Leo and polar.
This is your your space station orbit.
Okay.
So that's like your standard real orbit. This is your low Earth orbit right here.
Low Earth, yeah.
And I don't know what this one is though, off the top of my head, but polar.
Maybe that just means like circling the poles.
Yeah, something like that probably. But then you pick your date, or your year and your month.
Let's see the price. Yeah.
Let's go to 2043. No, I'm just kidding. We're not
going
to do 2043.
That'd be funny because maybe it's cheaper, but then
we're going to do 2020. March. No, we'll do November.
No, that already passed.
Oh yeah, no earlier than 2020. We'll just do 2021.
That's now. Yeah, 2021 March.
Okay. Let's do March. 2021. Can we do March? We'll do March. Then you put your payload in, so like 236 or something is what my weight is.
That's kilograms, though. Oh, yeah,
that's the conversion.
Yeah. Okay.
If I double my,
he already knows
85 or something.
Oh,
yeah, I've already done this. So you just click go. Estimated price. You see that 1.18 million, but now you get more options. Hang on, you get more options. So here you go.
It's like Uber. You want to pick somebody up along the way, then
see. Look, I already did one for December
of available
next year.
Ports.
Oh yeah. So here's your available flights right here.
Okay.
So let's just pick this flight right here. We'll just pick
this
one.
Is crazy. Do you want to go out of Houston or do you want to go to Cape Canaveral?
Exactly, dude. Look at so they're like, okay, I'll pick the top bunk. The 15-inch port.
Gosh, this is disgusting.
Yeah, and then so you just click, like
port adapter, separation system.
I'll do the 15-inch on the separation system.
15 grand.
I need to charge my phone, so I'm gonna get some payload electricity there.
Oh, fuel needed.
We don't need no fuel, but I definitely want insurance.
We're going to take the insurance,
Insurance to $2 million. So my total cost is $1.4 million to get to
space
station.
No, that doesn't really seem like that much, I suppose.
Continue and check out.
And you can buy it right now. Holy crap. Can people pay with a credit card for the $1.5 million? Or is it
right here?
Geez.
Card number.
Oh my gosh, deposits.
MasterCard.
What kind of deposit you got to do? $1 million down. Yeah, $1 million down.
What's that?
Wow. And you need to put $1 million down. What was this payment schedule? Oh, $5,000.
Oh, no, $5,000 down today. Yeah.
$1 million due within 5 days of after they accept it. Wow. This is insane. Now, here's a perfect example of 100xing somebody's goal. Because if you told somebody, yeah, I'm just going to have a website and you can pay for a trip to the moon, people would laugh you out of the room. Everybody would. And here he did it. And whether or not, whatever, let's just say whether or not people actually go or can go, because we know they are, but still he's doing it. You ever hear, I know you have, that story about when he made the flamethrowers and everybody bought the flamethrowers?
The Boring Company, yeah.
Yeah, so he made the Boring Company is the company that bores through the earth to make the tunnel. And which I think is a great name. System. And he said, hey, we should make a flamethrower. So he made like this crazy ass flamethrower to raise money.
It's not a flamethrower.
Yeah, you have to say it wasn't. And he made like, I don't know how many they made. Like, let's say 500. They made 500 of them and they sold them for what? $10,000?
Like no, it's like $500.
Yeah, because they wanted to raise a bunch of money.
Yeah, it was a certain amount. Yeah.
Like $1 million or something.
That's all he wanted. So he's like a certain amount, and that's what he did the math on.
Yeah, and he sold them, and boom, like they sold out in like record time, like a day.
Minutes.
Probably less.
Yeah,
it was minutes.
Fucking minutes.
Yeah. Which is awesome. Now, okay, he has the audience to do that. Like he has the eyeballs to do that, I should say. But that's the type of shit you got to go. Like just because you have an idea that somebody doesn't understand doesn't mean it's not a good idea. You know what I mean? Like it just means that nobody else sees it through your eyes. Nobody else sees it through your reality. So like, don't let your mom or your wife or your husband or whoever it is tell you it's a bad idea. Because even if it is, it won't matter. Like it'll stop you from doing everything here they go. It'll stop you from doing everything else. Like if somebody told you, Tony, not to build a mining rig in your basement because you're going to get pulled over by the cops or whatever the hell it is, and you didn't do it, it would have never led to all the other things, great things that have come out of that.
You're right.
And so like it doesn't matter. And the problem is we want to share our ideas with people because it's fun.
They're all going to laugh at you.
It is fun though, and so I don't want you to get discouraged on sharing it with people, but like whatever they say doesn't matter because to Cameron Haynes' point, nobody cares. And so just if you go in with that attitude, who cares? The work harder thing, I'm still whatever, like, because I used to be not a huge fan of Gary Vee being like, stay up till 2 a.m. and get up at whatever.
That's not what he means.
Well, he used to pound that home. He's changed his tune.
Not Gary Vee. I'm talking Cam. Cam means like work harder, meaning like exactly what we said after we watched Chasing Bubbles.
Yeah. Go watch Chasing Bubbles and you'll understand where we're coming from. And it'll change you in some way, whatever scene or whatever
that's Baby Yoda floating right there.
Yeah, I wondered what that was. It was like a dead chicken.
It's Baby Yoda.
Look at this. Docking bay door closed. God. Oh, there he is. Look at him. That's awesome. Well, Yoda was like 300 years old. Or no, is he 900 years old? He was really old. So
900 years old I am.
Have you been watching? That was really good. Have you been watching Mandalorian, or did you watch all those? Because they just came out with some new ones, I think.
Yeah, I just watched the last one last night. I didn't know they came out on Fridays. I thought they came out on Sundays, so I've been watching them on Sundays. But yeah, I just watched the last one last night. I was kind of pissed because it was only like a half an hour. I was like, dude, what?
Oh yeah.
Come on, I wait for this all week, and you give me half an hour? You're teasing me.
Not enough. That's not enough.
I'm a huge Star Wars fan, dude. I'm telling you right now, listen, I've been to the galactic fucking city or whatever the hell it's called in Disney World, dude.
Mos Eisley?
Galactic, what is it called? Galaxy's Edge. And and in Galaxy's Edge, it is absolutely motherfucking mind-blowing. I mean, like, if you're a Star Wars fan and you haven't been to Galaxy's Edge, good Lord, go.
I can't wait.
You get to make, there's a thing where you can go in there, you can like, it costs like $100. It's expensive, but you can make your own lightsaber. Like they take you into a room and they have a Jedi explain to you how to make your own lightsaber.
Really?
And they give you all these pieces and they give you all these like things and they give you all these like instructions and like, here, if you want to be a Jedi that's all about healing and health and wellness, you're going to use this medallion and you're going to use these types of materials to build your lightsaber. If you're about, like aggression and anger and power, you're going to use these, and this medallion, and these are going to be your tools for making your weapon. So they have some sort of semblance to it. And you kind of get to pick, and then they give you all these options, and you get to just compartmentalize this fucking lightsaber and everything. And then, everyone's walking around with fucking lightsabers on their hips because of the thing. And then, everyone's wearing tunics and stuff, and and everyone's got like that little Jabba the Hutt rat thing. Exactly. He's like eating R2's eye, and
he was.
They all got him sitting on their shoulder, and they have that little, like that little squeezy device that makes him like move and his head turn and shit.
Oh my gosh!
It's so crazy. And you can get on the Millennium Falcon. I've fucking flown the Millennium Falcon.
You showed me that cockpit shot,
really cool, I hit the fucking light speed, dude, man. Oh, it was so badass, Joel, dude. It was so badass. They're like, punch it, and I'm like, well, how? And they're like, grab those 3 fucking things and pull them together, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, dude, it was so fucking crazy. And then on top of that, you can go and the other fucking, I'm just drawing blanks for some reason. Because they jacked me up with so many goddamn drugs.
Better than shooting blanks.
Yeah, it's true. But you can go and you can go on one of the other rides. I can't think of the name of it. But the Empire like captures you, and you go. If you watch it on YouTube, it's fucking unbelievable. The Empire captures you, and they take you, and they put those like huge, like space ports that are on the side of like the fucking Death Star. The Death Star, and like how the not the X-Wings, but the TIE fighters will just come in through like
this like invisible through that big window.
Yeah. And it's you get out and you're in that. And there's like 500 fucking stormtroopers like guarding the area, and they're all this is all real too. Like physically you can touch them. And then there's a bunch of like Empire fucking like, generals that are like, go that way, you're our prisoners now, move. And they're real people. And they like usher you out of this like captured ship because they captured you in the tractor beam and sucked you in. Yeah. They land you on the dock and they take you out and they walk you through this other thing. And then another rebel ship comes in, blasts through this thing, picks you up, takes you off, gets you back to the fucking Endor moon, and you crash. And like there's like 15 different things. And every time they keep taking you out of the ride. And when they take you out of the ride, you're in a different world. It's like, how the fuck are they doing this? Like when you start the ride, you're in Disney World and you're walking in a line and you walk into this ride, you get onto the ship. Then when you get captured by the Empire, you're on the fucking Death Star and you get out of the ride on the Death Star. Then you get back on the ride and then you get off the ride and you're in the fucking forest moon of Endor.
See, that is called, changing the whatever, the reality, but the environment, but the reality. And that's the best part.
You know, like you're walking around.
That's fucked up, dude.
And then you get funneled back into the ride somehow. It's so wild, dude. So wild.
That's great.
And then as you're hanging out, let's say you're just eating lunch or you're looking at souvenirs, all of a sudden, like Kylo Ren with all of his knights will walk by you, you know, and they'll you know, like it'll be super fucking kick ass and like super like the energy and like the, you know, the vibe and everything just changes, you know, and he'll walk up onto his ship because his ship is right there, you know, and everything. Dude, it's crazy awesome. Or you'll just be hanging out and, you know, and
I can't wait.
And who else did I see all the time? It was Ray. I saw Ray a bunch of times. She was hanging out by the Millennium Falcon. I got a couple pictures of her hanging out by the Millennium Falcon, and I have all the characters just walking around hanging out all the time. Damn, it's fucking wild, dude.
I just saw some of those the other day. Like actually, when Payne and I were on the airplane coming back from seeing my mom a month ago or whatever, one of those was playing, not the last one, but the one before that, which I had never seen. And Payne was checking it out, and we both got hooked. And then so that's when I don't think up until then I'd even seen Kylo Ren. So Payne was like, Payne's favorite is Darth Vader, which is interesting because not interesting that he likes Vader. But he doesn't really even know, even though I started him the way we started. I started him with the first one, or the number 4, but nice.
Vader's lightsaber right here.
But he doesn't really know Luke. Like the young kids that grew up with the new ones aren't fans of Luke. They're fans of Kylo Ren and shit like that because Luke is like old now. But Luke was the man. He was the guy, you know.
But now he's the Ben, you know, from when we were little.
He's the Ben. Oh, look at this. Is that a thermal detonator?
Yes, and this is really? Their Diet Cokes from the park.
Oh man, he's holding a thermal detonator.
Literally everything is themed, even the fucking Diet Cokes. I don't drink Diet Coke, but I saw that this was a thermal detonator. I'm like, I'll take the fucking Diet Coke.
Does it have stuff in it?
No, it's empty. I cleaned it out.
Yeah. Dude, that's really cool.
But that's how genius it is. I don't drink Diet Coke, but I bought fucking Diet Coke because they put it in the thermal detonator can.
The perfect thing for like the 10x or the 100xing your goals. It's like, think of the detail like that. So think of whatever it can be. And I'm preaching to you and I'm not preaching to people on the show. I'm talking to myself because I look at my goals list and it's like, okay, you know, I wanted to finish my book this year, which I kind of let slack. Well, now I have about a little over a month and it's already like, essentially I've transcribed it all. So I just have to go through and edit it and then I can ship it. It can be done. I can edit it and print it. So, I mean, that's going to happen in a month, which
I was just going to say,
so many things,
I have a problem. Well, you know this, I had a problem with Dave with this and Dave would make great music and he's a genius musician. He really, really is. And I love everything that he does. I really do. That's not an understatement. He's that good. I love all of his work.
So cool.
And, and he knows how to play every instrument. He knows how to record. He knows how to master. He knows everything. And the only problem is he never will finalize anything and cut it and release it.
Yeah.
So he's been working on the same album for 20 years.
Yeah,
that does you no fucking good.
It does you no good because
I don't care if it's not perfect, dude. Yeah. That's not the point.
It will never be. It will never be for him. It will never be. Like, how do you think? Well, then think about it. Like, relate to him on the fact that like Brian Wilson put music out that I'm sure he thought wasn't done.
I've tried fucking everything, dude.
Like
everything.
It's never going to be perfect. In fact, you're going to look back at some of those songs and be like, I don't like that song, and it might be the one that takes off.
And that's okay.
And unfortunately, you'll have to live with that. And maybe you're not trying to make it take
500 times.
You'll have to play it every time.
Yeah.
You know? That's what George Michael had said about
faith,
careless whisper, or something like that. He He wrote it when he was like 16 and he was really vulnerable and he hated it that was the one that took off and he had to do it all the time and he hated it, but it made him a bunch of money too. And it was like
torture.
Yeah.
But that's my suggestion to you. Do not fall in that trap. Just release it and then do part 2. Make another book. And then by the time you get 4 books released, you will have that fucking perfect book.
You'll get one better
in your mind. Yeah.
Well, and that's why we kind of started doing live YouTube as opposed to, well, for one, it was taking time to edit, and then that's not it was fun. And then they weren't getting out because you want to make sure it's right.
Stockpiling. And it took time. And that
it was taking you a lot of time.
Yeah,
not like it wasn't going to take me, but I mean, you were doing it. It was just taking a lot of time.
And it's just because the file sizes are huge.
Just to bounce the file over or upload it.
It was a pain in the ass. And you also had to go through the whole entire episode. You had to put markers in where you needed to edit. Then you had to go back, then re-edit it. Then you had to take it and then export it out into the finalized form, then take that and re-upload it into YouTube, which took fucking forever. Then once you got it up into YouTube, then you had to do all the YouTube shit, you know?
So, and think about that. And also on something that's, not making you any money, which, I know the money's not what we're having a ton of fun and we're both learning a lot. But at the end of the day, you got to think, I have things I have to do that are either making me money or, whatever, are leading up to something to that extent, or taking away from the other things I want to do.
Right. Responsibilities that are super important. Yeah.
So it's like, just go live, put it out there. And to Dave,
it was so genius.
Same thing.
Such a good move, dude.
And I've done this only once, but nobody watches anyway, but I've sat here on a live YouTube on my own channel and just, created. I just thought, hey, I'm going to freestyle whatever comes. Like I write when nobody's watching. I play and I freestyle and I write notes. And I did that process on here, even though it was scary, even though nobody will see it. But it was scary because you make mistakes and you make shit up and don't have the words yet and you're just humming or you're just making sounds. But also that process is cool to see. Maybe Payne will watch that one day and be like, this is how I wrote a song, or this is how I
wrote a song.
Right? It's amazing. I never sent you that Stone Temple Pilots song, did I?
Oh, dude.
I did Interstate Love Song the other day, and I'm telling you, I crushed it.
I said, I want to get next to you. I said, I want to get close to you. You wouldn't want to have to hurt me too. Hurt me too.
That guy's great. R.I.P. Scotty.
Dude,
in college, so a band lived in my basement. In our basement, and Danny Williams, rest in peace, Danny, the drummer. So none of them lived there. We allowed them to practice in our basement because we had one. And so I was like, then I wasn't really going to class. So I would always show up with a 30 pack and I would sit on the stairs and just watch them practice. And then I would critique them and shit. And then they would take a break and I would jump on the mic.
All the time too, dude.
And then they would be like, I'm like, can I sing one song every time you guys play? So they would call me up. They would call me up in the middle, drunk at the bar, every time they did a show and let me sing Plush by STP.
Yeah.
And I feel, and the whole, because everybody's singing it.
Yeah.
And I'm just screaming into the microphone. I'm not doing any singing by any means,
No, you're just getting into it.
But yeah, I knew so many people that it was just fun. We just crushed it.
It was a little different back then, I think, too, just because you didn't have as much responsibility. Like I was saying, you didn't have as much on your plate, and you could afford to just chill and watch somebody practice while you're drinking some beers.
It was so fun.
And, it was a different atmosphere, but that's not an excuse to not chase your dreams and go 100x, and you know what? I think we should change this fucking podcast title because we do this every month anyway.
Yeah, we do.
We should just change it to 100x. I fucking love that.
Let's do it. Yeah.
That sounds way more appropriate because it plays into everything. 100x.
I'll do that tonight. That we need a new logo.
No worries, man. I'm on it.
I love it. We can leave it then. Let's leave it. I know you're going to watch the space station. We've done about an hour and we can keep going.
Over. We
That's
could.
all
We
right.
could talk fucking forever. And I don't want to hijack the rest of your night because I promised I wouldn't do to you. And I wanted to do a quick hitter really quick because I wanted to talk about some of the cool stuff we've done. Let's come back Thursday. We'll keep it at an hour again like we've been doing. And I like your idea too about props. I want you to grab the 5 most important things in prop form that you can find around that you are interested in. Like your hat was a great one today.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Your Crush Life shirt, I love it. Your coffee cup, maybe we can say the coffee thing. You get my point.
Yeah, so 5 props of things I'm into, or that represent like
that are what's on your mind, or what's your thing at for the week this week.
Okay.
Because we were talking about like weekly goals.
Yeah.
100x. But like I showed you my shirt, and I showed you the little ham radio. I showed you the spaceship that we're going to build with Dakota. And my last one is the Foundation. So Isaac Asimov in the Foundation trilogy. If you've never read Isaac Asimov before, Isaac Asimov is the greatest science fiction writer of all time. And I'm reading the Foundation trilogy, especially the first one. I want to get that one done because Apple is making a TV show that, is based off of the book. And I've already read the Foundation trilogy once, but it was like 20 years ago. So I want to read it again prior to the show coming out. And I do this with everything. I'll read the whole entire book before, the show comes out again. And Isaac Asimov, if you haven't read any of, he's the guy that wrote iRobot. Remember Will Smith?
Yeah, I've seen his name, but I've never read it.
Dude, he's got some really kick-ass books. The Naked Sun, that's an amazing fucking book.
Wow.
And the Foundation trilogy. So if you ever get bored, you want to read some kick-ass fucking science fiction, Isaac Asimov, man.
I can't wait. Some links I'm going to put down there. I'm going to put a link to that Cam Haynes guy, because if you don't know this guy, the guy runs like a marathon every day. Then he has a full-time job, and he's like the best bow hunter, or most popular, at least, bow hunter on the planet, so he's like the Tiger Woods.
The best.
And maybe, so I don't, because I'm just learning about him, so I don't want to talk stuff I don't know. And then I'm going to put the link to Chasing Bubbles, and it's on YouTube. So you got to watch this thing. It will change your life. And then, if you want, put some links to the books, but guys,
yes, sir.
I can't wait to hear what you guys think. Please, anybody who sees this, send us a note about Chasing Bubbles and just tell us if it gave you goosebumps or whatnot. You're going to love it.
Yes, please leave some comments in the show. People, I need you guys. I'm begging you. I'm begging you right now. This is not just me and Joel bullshitting to each other and fucking patting each other on the back for how cool we are. I need you to put comments in there. I need you to be part of this discussion. I need you to tell me what you're into. I need you to tell me what books you're reading. I need you to tell me what YouTube channels you're watching. I need you to tell me which exercises and which races you're doing. You need to join this conversation. And when you do, me and Joel will see that. And then we'll be like, oh, dude, I haven't talked to him in a while. Let's reach out to him. Maybe we get him on the show. So, dude, just be part of the conversation with us. Guys, girls, kids, parents, anybody, just be part of the conversation with us, please.
We'll read what you're putting out there. We'll watch what you're putting on there. We'll talk about it, because that's what we're looking to be inspired by anybody. So I love it, T. Nice job, man.
All right, bro. And like I said, Thursday. Cheers, my love.
Cheers, dude. Peace.